Would I buy this one now since the M2 just came out?
All right, folks, welcome back to Big Man's World of Wonders.
So there it is. Welcome back to the show. Today we're going to take a look at this MacBook Pro. This is a 2021 M1 14-inch. It's nice. It's very nice. I've actually unboxed many of these. It's now 2023. It's on its way out. Actually, just today, I believe it was today, they just announced the MacBook Pro M2 coming out. We're going to do a little comparison here in the process. So let's go ahead and we're going to open this nice and easy. All right, these are very nice computers. One thing I'm gonna say, they have them on sale right now. It's M1 instead of M2, and you can get this one normally was $19.99. You can find them at $15.99 pretty regularly. I think it's a great deal. I've bought lots of them, so here we go. I'm gonna lift that out and whoop. Psych. All right, anyway, there it is. Almost there it is, right? So, in Mac's usual style, very nice packaging. Here we go, Apple. There we go. MacBook Pro. Kinda like that, right? They really are beautiful machines, right? I think they're great. Anyway, this machine here, the M1 machine, it's a 14.2-inch screen. It is 10 cores, 32 cores in the GPU, up to 32 cores. I don't remember this one exactly, but it's pretty great. It's not the top of the line, but it's a pretty great model. You can get up to 64 gig. This thing has a 512 SSD, has 16 gig of RAM. It has a bunch of Thunderbolt ports. It has a bunch of stuff. If we really want to know the exact specs of this exact one, we'd have to look, and it's not there. I thought it would be right there for us. Foiled again. Okay, anyway, the cord. I was just ripping this stuff open. It wasn't even telling you guys. Here's the cord. Let's just keep ripping, right? Why stop a good thing? They have these nifty little tabs, but okay, nice cord as usual underneath the... And here we go. Regular, kind of biggish size power brick, but needs some juice to do that computing. I'm going to go ahead and try it.
Your Tech Garage tip of the week.
I suggest that when you get a new computer like this, that you go ahead and you plug it in, let it give a full charge before you start messing with it too much. It's best for the battery. Apple computers come with a pretty good charge on them, but it's good to top it off before you mess it up. You don't want to mess up your battery. That's the worst thing you can do. So, let's go ahead and open this up. What do you think? I'm trying to figure out how I can do it and show you all at the same time because... Oh, look. There it is. As we know, it all boots up. I kind of like to keep these. This isn't for me, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Comes up, welcomes you in many different languages. It's very nice the way Apple is inclusive. They try to include everybody, right? Hola. Right? Bonjour. My accent's not that good, so you'll have to excuse me. Anyway, one thing I want to talk about. M1 versus M2. The new current product that's just coming out, same size screen. The difference is basically M1 processor, you can get up to 10 cores. M2 processors, you can go 12 cores. M1, you can get up to 32 core GPU. In the new model, you can get up to a 38 core GPU. This machine's going to max out at 64 gig of RAM. The new machines, they've increased it to 96 gig of RAM. Do you notice over time, the applications are so hungry. They're so greedy. They just gobble up the RAM. A quick tip for you. This is a great one. The more RAM, the better. In case you don't understand what that is, RAM is the memory that your computer uses to operate. When you're doing everything, it's all in RAM. Once it runs out of RAM, it does this thing called virtual memory, and it writes to the hard drive. And it's like if you have a basket.
Don't forget to smash the subscribe button.
And you have a bunch of stuff in it and it's full. And you want to put something so bad, you need to put something into the basket. You take that piece out and you put it to the side. And you put another something into the basket. And you're constantly shuffling from here to there because your basket's full. But you need to be using these different components. That's what RAM does. So if you have a bigger basket, there's less shuffling from left to right. All this shuffling, just like in real world, it takes a lot more time. Computers, all that time adds up to time. There's a tip for you. Get more RAM. If you can afford more RAM, especially on a lot of these new notebooks like this MacBook
To use
Pro.
English as the main language.
Oh,
Press
look.
the return key.
She's talking to us. Hello. The more RAM, the better. You can't upgrade the RAM in these computers. Once you get it, you get it. End of the story. So get as much as you can get. You'll appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go for English. Also, do you know that with this model, Apple went back to MagSafe? That's a pretty big deal, right? You guys know MagSafe. They switch back. They remember they had the touch bar for a minute? There's no touch bar again. It's interesting how they make these changes and they decide what's good for now and what's not. But hey.
Mac OS contains a built-in screen reader called VoiceOver.
You
if
see?
you know how to use
She's
VoiceOver,
right on key.
press Command F5
Okay,
now
here
to
we
turn it
go.
on and set up your Mac.
We're going to hit continue, accessibility. We're going to say not now. These are the Wi-Fi networks. I know. It's a trust issue to some degree, but here's another tip for you while I connect it to the Wi-Fi. The tip is be secure. You can't be over secure. You need to protect your passwords. You need to use strong passwords. You need not to give out your passwords to people or let them see your Wi-Fi. Don't name your Wi-Fi something that people can identify with you because then they know whose Wi-Fi it is. Even if they don't have the key, maybe it gives them more interest into figuring that one out. There's another tip. There's a lot of tips coming here. Okay, we're connecting here, so just stand by. Ready? All right, so we're doing the setup. Setup has a migration assistant. If you haven't set it up, look, if you've used another Mac computer, you have the option here. Do I want to migrate my stuff from a Mac, from a Time Machine backup, or a startup disk? Or do I even want to migrate my stuff from a PC? So they've given you the ability to do all this stuff, right? So that you can migrate your stuff easily. I'm going to turn this back over. You might be able to see a little bit what's going on. I think maybe if I go like this, you can share my screen a little bit. Yeah, that works, right? Maybe even that. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, so anyway, migration assistant. We're not going to migrate from anything right now. So we're going to click down here. We're going to say not now. Apple ID. We're going to say set up later. I just want to get you guys in. It's warning us. Are you sure you want to skip Apple ID? Because when you buy a Mac, it's all associated with your Apple ID. When you buy an iPhone, it's all associated with your Apple ID. Any Apple device you have is associated with your Apple ID. So for right now, we're still going to take it and say skip, but ultimately, when this computer gets used, person would add their Apple ID. It's the most logical thing when you want to pay for stuff, iTunes, all that stuff, Apple ID. So here we go. But we're going to still skip. Terms and conditions, of course, I read everything very carefully. Yes, I've read it and I agree. Okay, so the full name, we're going to just put right now IT. If you didn't know, as profession, I'm an IT consultant. That's true. At the end of the day, I'm going to have an IT account. So when my user forgets their password, I can still get in. So it makes you do a password. I'm going to go for the simplest of 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't ever use that. Watch Spaceballs, the movie. Funny joke about that.
So the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the stupidest combination I ever heard in my life. That's the kind of thing an idiot would have on his luggage. Thank you, Your Highness.
That's pretty much the stupidest password you could ever use. Don't use it. But for this demonstration, I'm using it. It does its run to its little thing. Anyway, I've used a lot of these computers. I've purchased a lot of this exact model of the computer. This is a really nice generation of computer. Oh, and if you didn't know, it has a notch for the camera. One more little separate thing. But before this, they didn't have that. They're back to that. It's a nice model computer. It's a really solid machine. It performs well. Especially, Apple doesn't really give much discounts, you can get a discount on it right now. You can get a good discount. There's going to be a link below. It'll be probably the top link up there. And if you want to buy one, I'd buy it now because they'll only be around for so long. The M2 is creeping up.
Don't forget to smash the subscribe button.
Subscribe, follow us. We'll give you a lot of these good tips. Screen time, in case you don't know what it is, it keeps track of the time. And if you wanted to restrict time for your kids or something, you can do that all through screen time. So I'm not going to do it now. Yeah, it's a good time to buy this machine because it's a very good machine. I don't really think that the new one, how much is it going to, this is a great machine. No time to wait. Why not do it now? I'm not going to enable Siri. That's what they keep asking me. Trying to do this. I'm right-handed. I'm trying to do it left-handed so y'all can see, right? You're welcome. I'm not going to set up Touch ID. Touch ID, in case you don't know, there's a fingerprint sensor here. While we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and show you the side. We have Thunderbolt, USB-C, we have audio jack, and we have a MagSafe. Back to the MagSafe. And then over here, what are we going to see over here? Oh my gosh. SD card reader, USB-C, Thunderbolt, and full-size HDMI. I kind of love that. I think having a full-size HDMI is super useful. If you go to a hotel, they have HDMI on their TV. If you go anywhere, every monitor these days has HDMI. It may not have this, it may not have that, but chances are it has HDMI. Full size. That's great. So anyway, Touch ID, we're going to set up later. So yeah, I don't know if it's that much interest. It takes just normally if I was paying more attention to this would just take a minute. It's basically each time saying, hey, are you sure you don't want to set this up now? Because this is some good stuff. Choose my look, light, dark, auto. I'm a fan of auto. Continue. And there we are. We've reached the Mac desktop. This right now is coming loaded with, let's about this Mac. Here, this came loaded with Mac Ventura 13.0. I guess a good question that some people might ask me is, would I buy this one now since the M2 just came out? Yeah, I think I would. As a matter of fact, if you didn't notice, this is brand new, right? I just bought it. I think it's a great choice for almost everybody. Unless you needed a cutting edge machine, you needed the latest and greatest. I don't really know where you're going to see the benefit in that processor. Apple computers have a long lifespan, so getting a computer that's not this year's model is not really a problem. And honestly, in many cases, it's actually a benefit not to get the new one because there's probably going to be problems with the new ones. We all have seen it a million times. If you just have to be in that group, get it. If you just have to have the fastest, go ahead and get it. But I think while you can still get this one, I think it's a great computer. For the price, $15.99, it's excellent. This one was not bought straight through Apple. It was bought through a big box retailer, and they're still out there, just delivered today. So I would say, yeah, buy one of these. While you can buy it, it's definitely a good deal. This versus the same model in the M2, I wouldn't do it. I'd buy this. I'd save a few bucks. Get Apple Care. Apple Care is always a good thing. Subscribe to our channel. Give us a like. Check for the link below. We'll put a link for it. And
stay till the end. You're not going to want to miss this.
Enjoy. I mean, this is great. I'm going to just shut the lid. This is a great design, great Apple computer. I can't see how you could go wrong. I wouldn't buy a MacBook Air. I would buy this. I'd buy a 14-inch, maybe 13 if you wanted something lighter, but you have to remember you're sacrificing your screen size. 13 is cool, especially if you wanted to try to slip it in your bag or something real easy. Sure, I bet you can still buy the M1 and 13 as well. And I bet that the price on that is probably really good right now as well. So I'd probably look for M1 deals right now. They're good computers. I don't think there's a huge difference. And I did happen to look, and the video engine, there's two graphics engines on this machine. The new ones only have one. I think that's probably an advantage if you're actually trying to do some kind of like video editing, Premiere or whatever. I think you'll probably benefit from that for the rendering engine. Yeah, Apple computer, can't go wrong. Beautiful machine, great design, performance well. I can tell you I've used this machine for the last 2 years. Not this one, this is brand new, but the same exact machine. It's been a workhorse. I haven't had any really fail. and I recommend it. So there it is. Let's turn it right side up. Apple MacBook Pro, go get it.
Thanks for watching this episode. Hey, if there's something you'd love to see on this show, leave us a comment below.